So guys, the crypto markets are pumping right now. The sentiment is really changing in the markets based off of what we have been seeing in the past 2 weeks and how everyone is feeling right now. Overall, Ethereum has already broken 2,000 right now. There's a few specific price zones that we want to be seeing for Ethereum so that altcoins can really get the liquidity that they need to start running back up. And today, I want to walk you guys through a few specific perspectives on the market, what you need to be looking at, and exactly what is anticipated for altcoins and the markets in the next few weeks. But if you're new to my channel, go ahead and check out the rest of my content. I'm an intermediate trader documenting my journey, showing you guys my wins, my losses, keeping you guys updated on the day-to-day events, price action on Bitcoin and altcoins, and overall just how you can position yourself while everything is going on in the crypto markets. The last few weeks have been dark. People have been capitulating their bags, but if you are still here, you are seeing the relief in your bags right now in your portfolio. And overall, I want to walk you through the price action around Ethereum and what we need to see, as well as overall exactly what we're currently seeing with Bitcoin and exactly what's anticipated in the next few weeks and perspectives from crypto analysts and influencers. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So guys, like how I said, the crypto markets have been pumping today. Bitcoin's sitting at around 87,000, 87.3, and it was pumping pretty hard earlier today. Ethereum as well, currently sitting at around 2,078. Also kind of seeing a little bit of retracing after pumping quite significantly today. The total 2 chart as well, guys, you can see we saw a little bit of relief, pumping up quite significantly, and you can see in my crypto portfolio, and I hope your crypto portfolio as well, there's a lot of green taking place in the markets, which you want to make sure that your assets, guys, are one of the first to move whenever the markets get a little bit of relief. That's going to let you know that you're in strong assets. But there's a lot of different perspectives as to where we're going to be heading and exactly what we need to see. Crypto Mission now gives his perspective on exactly the price action around Ethereum and exactly what he thinks we need to be seeing in terms of that price action and where we could be heading, and also exactly the zones that we're testing. And this is really keen. A lot of crypto influencers, analysts are talking about this 2100, 2150 zone. So it's really, you got to understand this. So let's go to jump into it. He says, I think that each shows a deviation here. And he's talking about pretty much what we had saw overall in the start of 2025, as well as pretty much starting overall in February, moving into March. And he goes on to say, it didn't break any crucial level yet, but it's facing one. Breakthrough 2100 to 2150, and we'll probably run to 2800 quite quickly. And it's really true. We do see strong price action once these assets hit specific zones, just because it deems clarification for, you know, people that are trading in the market, and as a result, we see fluctuations of liquidity. But he goes on to say DXY fell down substantially. Likely we'll see a good Q2. So overall, guys, everyone's pretty much pumped for Q2 starting for the crypto markets and the price action for Bitcoin and Ethereum to run back and overall get the liquidity that they need so that our altcoin portfolios can start to run. But you need to be looking at this zone, guys, seeing exactly this 2100 to 2150 zone, as well as overall our next targets based off of exactly where we are testing. This is going to be super crucial, and I hope you are keeping up with it. And on this channel, we do that, so like, comment, and subscribe. Overall, though, Virtual Bacon, another person that talked about exactly his perspective on exactly when we're going to be seeing altcoin season happening, and he talks about how, and this is a great little video, you should go follow him on X, but he gives his perspective on exactly when more than likely we're going to see liquidity shift back into big assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and whenever we're going to see liquidity move back into altcoins. And he's pretty much saying how a lot of people base everything off of the halving cycles, which CryptoCon is one of those people that bases that. But at the end of the day, he thinks that it is a little bit flawed in terms of the time ratio and how the markets actually play out. And as a result, he thinks it's, you know, not the best indicator to keep up with. But what he does focus on is the M2 money supply, the global liquidity of pretty much all the money in the world, and exactly what we need to see for liquidity to line up so that it pushes all into altcoins. And he goes on to say the bull run isn't over. Ignore the rigid 4-year halving cycles with the Bitcoin halving cycles, guys. Liquidity is the real driver, which is really true. If we don't have liquidity, we're not going to have anything driving. But I think it's good to have multiple different perspectives. Bitcoin's still in a macro uptrend since November 2022, which we saw that in one of my recent videos, guys. You should go check out that video. And once global liquidity eases, altcoins will catch up just like in 2017 and 2021. patience always pays. So at the end of the day, if you've been patient, you've been waiting, you're going to be one of the people that is rewarded. But understanding how liquidity shifts and exactly the indicators you need to be focused on is really important to understand exactly how to position yourself and to gain the confidence to sit on your hands and wait for altcoin season to happen, which I've been talking about all on this YouTube channel, guys. Overall though, Mustache talks about his perspective on pretty much the price action we're currently seeing for altcoins. He says, I'm amazed at how quickly sentiment has changed in the recent weeks, which is really true. A lot of people were just flat out done with the markets. They felt like everything was dead. Even my YouTube channel kind of just dropped in views because everybody just kind of quit on the markets. But overall, he goes on to say, I only read something like bearish retest or relief rally. Have you ever heard of a V reversal? That's what usually happens in a bull market. If I'm not wrong, the next move will be even steeper. So at the end of the day, he's trying to compare it based off of a specific chart and pattern that he thinks that we're currently seeing, and he's right. We usually do see these patterns before a giant rip up. You saw it in the 2021 cycle. We're currently seeing it now in the 2024-2025 crypto bull cycle. So at the end of the day, he says, you know, based off of these specific indicators, he thinks we're going to be ripping up quite significantly. But what do you think? Everyone has their own perspective. But I honestly think altcoins are going to be going like crazy. We just need to see liquidity shift back out of these big assets after they run up, and then from there we're going to have our time in the sun. CryptoCon though gives his perspectives on pretty much the Mayer bands, the daily RSI, and the fear and greed. Down here we have the fear and greed, so pretty much the sentiment in the markets based off of these assets. The daily RSI to let us know if we're pretty much in an overbought or oversold region. I'm pretty much just summing this up really quickly for y'all. And the Mayer bands, not going to jump into that. Gets a little bit complicated. But anyways, unsurprisingly, Bitcoin did not want to stay long in extreme lows across almost all short-term metrics. So you can see on the daily RSI, as soon as it hit that specific oversold region, it just jumped right back out of it. Same thing in the Mayer bands, as well as overall in the extreme fear that we saw whenever it hit the 10 mark. That's actually really crazy. But we bounced back out of that zone, guys, because overall Bitcoin did not want to stay in those low extreme lows across all these metrics. But he goes on to say, with the amount of bearishness currently in our space, expect most people to consider this move a dead bounce. Surely the masses wouldn't be wrong in their bear market and recession predictions again, right? He's being a little bit, you know, sarcastic right there, because a lot of people are saying this is a recession, we're done. And at the end of the day, we've heard this multiple different times, but if you keep up with how liquidity moves and basic patterns in previous cycles, you can have an understanding on how liquidity is moving, and more than likely when altcoin season is going to be happening, which I've been talking about and a lot of other people have been talking about too, the people that actually believe in the crypto markets. And like I said, guys, my crypto portfolio, it has been pumping up in the last 24 hours. I like that I can see my assets pumping up very significantly when we see relief in the markets, and you want to see that in your assets as well. If not, guys, you should really reevaluate your portfolio, because if your assets aren't moving, more than likely you're not in a really strong asset. But swiping everything to the side, guys, right now the sentiment is changing in the markets. Not too long ago, everything was dead. Now everyone is getting super pumped up. There's a lot of different things, moving parts with liquidity and how everything is moving with the economy. So everyone is kind of in a teeter-totter zone right now, but liquidity is basically the big thing that we need to focus on, like Crypto Bacon talked about, overall virtual bacon. At the end of the day, we need to understand these indicators, how these pretty much indicators correlate to big assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then we need to keep up with those zones, like where Ethereum is kind of playing around with that 2100, 2150 zone, to let us know if we're going to start breaking up to around 2800 and give altcoins the liquidity that they need. But this is where you need to start keeping up with the day-to-day events, price action, and overall the sentiment, and cut through all the fluff and just get straight to the information that you need. And we do that on this YouTube channel. So if you're new to my channel, go and check out the rest of my content. I'm an intermediate trader, documenting my journey, showing you guys my wins, my losses, keeping you guys updated on the day-to-day events, price action on Bitcoin and altcoins, how liquidity is shifting, and overall exactly how you can position yourself. Right now, guys, everything was dead. Now everything is starting to pump up. People are starting to look back around in the markets, and I know that you're one of those people that has already been in the markets, keeping up with everything, and you're still pretty much just dollar cost averaging, waiting for the next move. Stay up to date with everything that is going to be happening, and you're going to be better off than most of the people in the space. I drop day-to-day content, so stay tuned, and hopefully I catch you tomorrow. Peace.